The twin suns of planet Verixie Prime burned high in the sky. Their golden light fell upon the grand palace of Queen Calvera, ruler of the Verixie Empire. Her throne room was wide, glowing with blue crystals and silver pillars. Soldiers stood, on both sides, silent like statues. Today was different. A prisoner had been captured in the outer territories. A strange one, humanoid, but not like any species they knew. Strong, tall, and calm. He had fought off 3 patrol squads before surrendering. No one could understand where he came from. The guard said he smiled even while bleeding. The golden doors opened. 2 tall guards dragged a man forward. He stood straight, even in chains. His uniform was dark and torn, but his eyes were full of fire. His skin was pale, his hair short, and his jaw strong. He looked directly at Queen Calvera without fear. The queen leaned forward on her silver throne. She had seen many warriors. She had crushed rebellions and ruled with iron commands. But this one, he looked different. "What is your name?" she asked in a calm but cold voice. The man did not answer. One of the guards slapped him. "You speak to the queen?" The man slowly turned his head toward the guard and said softly, "Touch me again, and I'll break your arm." A few soldiers reached for their weapons. The queen raised her hand. "Stop." She stood up and walked slowly down the steps of her throne. Her long, violet robes swept the floor. Her eyes studied the man closely. "Where are you from, stranger?" The man smiled. "Slightly Earth." The room fell silent. Some of the older nobles gasped. Others looked confused. One of the queen's advisors, a thin alien with glowing green eyes, whispered, "Earth was destroyed 200 cycles ago." "Aye," said another. No humans survived the galactic purge. Queen Calvera's breath caught for a moment. She had heard the stories as a child, stories of a world called Earth, a place of wild warriors, a place where humans fought against great alien fleets with nothing but courage, rage, and hope. But those were just legends, weren't they? She turned to her chief scientist. "Scan him. DNA, cell memory, everything." The scientist hesitated. "Your Majesty, if he is truly human, do it."
Oh.
The man stood still as they scanned him. The machine beeped, processed, and then displayed something that shocked everyone. "Human," the scientist confirmed, his voice shaking. 100% Terran origin. Military enhancement detected. Genetic markers matched the pre-purge species. Murmurs filled the room. Calvera stepped closer. She looked into the man's eyes. "So, the rumors were true," she whispered. "You are the human legend." The man tilted his head slightly. "Name's Jace, Commander Jace Thorne. Earth Defense Force." "Earth is gone," she said. He nodded. "Mostly, but not all of us." The queen turned away for a moment, trying to understand what this meant. If humans still live, the galaxy could change forever. The story said humans were not just strong, but dangerous, brave, loyal, and unstoppable in war. "Why did you come to my empire?" she asked. "I didn't," Jace replied. "I crashed, got caught, was scouting an old wormhole route, killed many of my soldiers." "I didn't kill them," he said. "Just broke their pride." She almost smiled. Almost then she turned serious again. "You are a threat to the Empire." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Or maybe I'm a wake-up call." The queen stared at him for a long moment. She then said something that surprised even her closest advisors. "Remove his chains." Everyone froze. "But your Majesty," I said, "remove them." The guards obeyed. Jace rolled his shoulders once the cuffs were off. He didn't move aggressively. He just stood calmly. "Come with me," the queen said. She led him out of the throne room. Ignoring the shocked looks behind her, they walked through a quiet corridor deep inside the palace. The walls were covered in old carvings, images of war, conquest, and ancient kings. They entered a small chamber, guarded by no one. It was filled with glowing scrolls, crystal tablets, and ancient data books. "This room," Calvera said, "holds the oldest secrets of the galaxy. stories of the first species, of the fallen gods, and of humans. She picked up a scroll and opened it carefully. A picture was drawn in the center, an armored human, holding a flag, standing on a pile of machines. "Your people were once feared more than anything," she said. "The Vyrexi Empire joined the Purge only because we were told humans would destroy us all." Jace looked at the picture. "Maybe they were right," he said quietly. "Or maybe they were just afraid of something they couldn't control." She looked at him again. He was not just strong, he was calm, in control, not like the savage humans in the old stories. "Why did your people vanish?" she asked. "We didn't vanish," he replied. "We adapted, hid in broken systems. Built silently. We watched the galaxy forget us. And now, we're back." "Are you here for revenge?" Jace shook his head. "I'm here to make sure it doesn't happen again." Queen Calvera leaned back against the wall. The galaxy was changing, and she was standing in front of the man who could change it all. "You could be dangerous," she said. "So could you," Jace replied. They stared at each other for a moment. No fear, only understanding. "Very well," she said at last. "You are not my enemy." "For now," Jace smiled. "Good, because I don't want to be." She looked down at the scroll again. There's an old prophecy. It says, when the human rises again, the thrones of stars shall fall. "Do you believe in prophecy, Your Majesty?" he asked. She met his gaze. "I believe in action, in power, and in the spark I see in your eyes." Jace stepped forward. "Then maybe you should believe in something else too." "What's that?" He looked around the ancient chamber and said one word: hope. The sun was setting on Vyrexi Prime, painting the sky in deep shades of red and purple. Inside the palace, Queen Calvara stood by a large window, watching the city lights flicker below. But her mind was elsewhere, stuck on one name: Commander. Jace Thorne, a human, alive, standing in her palace. That night she invited him to her private chamber. It wasn't a trap. There were no guards hiding in the shadows. It's just her 2 chairs, and a low table between them with warm drinks from her homeworld. Jace entered the room silently. He looked cleaner now. They'd given him fresh clothes, simple. Black armor, tight around the chest and arms, with a symbol on his shoulder. A blue star with wings. The queen nodded for him to sit. He did, without hesitation. "Why did you really come here?" she asked after a moment of silence. "I told you," Jace said calmly. "I was scouting an old wormhole path. We're searching for old human outposts. Most are destroyed. But this one took me straight into your patrol zone. You're not the first outsider to cross our borders. You are the first who didn't beg for mercy or start shooting blindly. I don't believe in wasting time," he said. "Or blood." Queen Calvera sipped her drink slowly. "You said we? Who is we, Jace?" Jace leaned back in his chair. His eyes narrowed just a little. Then he said, "The Terran remnant." She frowned. "I thought humans were extinct." But during the Purge, some of us escaped. Deep space, hidden bases, frozen sleep. For 200 years, we waited, rebuilt, learned, and now we've returned. For revenge? Shet shook his head. For balance. For truth. To stop monsters like the Galactic Council from doing it again. The Queen stared at him. "You're not just a soldier. I was once a commander in Earth's last war. Now, I'm just a scout. But others will come. Some will bring peace. Some will bring fire." She put down her cup. "And you?" "What will you bring?" Jace answered without blinking. "Choice." The next day, Queen Calvera called for a private test. She ordered 5 of her best warriors, elite Vyrexi, fighters trained for years in hand-to-hand combat, to meet Jace. In the palace arena, J.A. arrived alone. No armor, no weapons. Just his fists and his mind. The arena was quiet. No audience. Only the queen, her generals, and a few curious nobles watched from the upper seats. "Are you sure you want this?" asked one of the generals. Jace smiled. "Dance." The first warrior charged with a spinning blade. Jace ducked, stepped in, and dropped him with a punch to the chest. The second came from behind. Jace twisted, grabbed her arm, and flipped her onto the ground. The third and fourth attacked together. Jace moved like water fast, smooth, precise. He dodged one, kicked the other, and used the momentum to slam them into each other. The last one hesitated. Jace walked up slowly, looked him in the eyes, and said, "You can sit down now. I don't want to break your ribs." The warrior stepped back and sat. The queen stood up, eyes wide. Jace had beaten all 5 in less than 2 minutes, and he hadn't seriously hurt any of them. The crowd was silent. He didn't even use a weapon, one of the nobles whispered. "This is what the old stories spoke of," said another. Queen Kelvir raised her hand. "Enough. This test is complete." She walked down into the arena. "You didn't kill them?" she said. "I didn't need to," Jace replied. "They were trying to kill you. I came here to talk, not to start a war." She looked at the 5 fallen warriors. None were dead. Some were groaning, others slowly standing. "You are not what I expected," she said. "I get that a lot." Later that night, the palace halls were buzzing. News spread fast. The human is real. The human is powerful. The human is merciful. Even the common citizens of Veraxi Prime began whispering. Children asked their parents if Earth people were really magic. Soldiers began questioning what else the Empire had lied about. Slaves in hidden chambers dared to hope. The queen couldn't sleep. She walked through the library of ancient knowledge. Her fingers brushed over data tablets, old scrolls, and crystal carvings. She stopped at one scroll sealed behind. Glass, she broke the seal. It was the oldest scroll in her collection. It told the story of a creature called man, a species born in fire, raised in chaos, and shaped by endless war. The scroll said, "They do not fear death. They do not run from pain, build from ash. They conquer from the shadows. When the stars grow silent, one shall return." The human legend. She sat down and stared at the words. Jace Thorne. Could he really be the one from the prophecy? The next day, Queen Calvara invited Jace to a war briefing. Her generals were not happy. "This is foolish," one shouted. "He is a human relic. We should kill him now." Another agreed. "We don't need earth blood in our plans." Calvara raised her hand. "Enough?" Jace stood at the edge of the table, arms crossed. "I don't care about your politics," he said, "but I've studied your maps. Your fleets are stretched too thin in the north sectors. If the pirate clans attack now, you'll lose 3 star systems in a week." The generals laughed. Human logic. "You think we haven't already considered that?" Jace stepped forward. "Then you should fire your strategist." He pressed a button on the console. A new hologram appeared, one the Veraxi didn't have. It showed a pirate fleet twice the size of what the Empire expected. "How do you have this?" the queen asked. "Terran sensors. You scan 10 times faster than your probes." The room fell silent. "Do you believe me now?" Jace asked. Queen looked at her generals. "Prepare for fleet movement. Shift reinforcements to the north." Immediately, they obeyed. After they left, Calvera turned to Jace. "You didn't have to help," Jace shrugged. "If your empire falls, the whole galaxy burns. I'm not here to destroy. I'm here to clean up the mess. And if I'm part of the mess," he looked at her seriously, "then change." In the following days, Queen Calvara started to see her world through different eyes. Jace spent time with her advisors, her guards, and even her people. Never asked for anything, but his presence alone shook the foundations of power. Children looked up at him with wonder. Soldiers asked him about Earth. Nobles began to question the council. He inspired hope, he inspired fear, and he inspired truth. Late one evening, Calvera stood on her balcony while Jace stood beside her. The stars above glittered like diamonds. "Never thought I'd meet a human," she said quietly. "I never thought I'd see your empire from inside." She looked at him. "What do you want from us?" Jace thought for a moment. Then he said, "A chance. To stop history from repeating. To protect what's left of us. To build something better." She nodded slowly. "Would you help me fix what's broken?" "I will," he said, "but not as your servant." She turned to him fully. "Then how?" Jace smiled faintly. "As your equal. or not at all. Commander Jace Thorne stood at the center of the palace gardens. The moonlight above Verexi Prime shone down on him, casting his shadow across the marble tiles. He had been there for many nights now, always watching, listening, and learning. But others were watching him too. Inside the high towers of the palace, the Verexi War Council held a secret meeting. The council chamber was dark, the air heavy with tension. 12 powerful Verexi lords sat in a circle. They were old, proud, and angry. "He is dangerous," said Lord Drexen, his red scales shining under the crystal light. "The queen grows. Soft. She listens to the human more than us." "He must be removed," growled another. "We are Verexi. We do not share power with old ghosts from lost worlds." A thin female counselor raised her voice. "But the people love him now. Even our soldiers whisper his name with respect." "Exactly," Drexen snapped. "He is becoming a symbol. Human leading aliens. That cannot happen again." They all nodded. "Then it is decided," said Drexen. "He dies tonight." Quietly. That same evening, Queen Calvera sat in her private study looking over reports. Colonies were sending messages of change. Some called for reforms. Others declared loyalty to the human flame. Even distant star systems had begun raising. Jace's symbol, the winged star. She didn't smile. She didn't panic. But her heart felt strange, like something was waking up inside her. Was it hope or fear? There was a soft knock at her door. Her personal guard entered. It was General Tyvra, young but loyal, her golden armor shining in the low light. "Your Majesty," she said, "I have news, and it is not good." Jace was walking back to his quarters through a quiet corridor when he noticed something strange. His usual guards were gone. The hall was silent. It's too silent. He stopped and listened. Footsteps. Not one or two, but many. Slow, careful. He turned. 6 masked Verexi assassins stepped out from the shadows, each holding a curved blade that hummed with energy. JC raised his. "Hand slowly so it begins," he muttered. The first assassin lunged. Jace sidestepped, grabbed the attacker's wrist, twisted, and used his own momentum to slam him into the wall. The second one attacked from the side. Jace ducked and punched upward into the alien's chest. But they kept coming. He dodged, blocked, countered. His training took over. Every move was fast, sharp, and clean, but there were too many. One blade sliced his arm, another hit his leg. He grunted in pain but kept fighting. Suddenly, a loud shout echoed down the hall. "Protect the human." A squad of royal guards arrived, led by General Tyvra. They fired stun blasts, taking down the remaining assassins. Jack dropped to one knee, breathing hard, blood on his face. Tyvra rushed to his side. "Are you all right, Commander?" He nodded. Weakly, nothing I haven't handled before. They helped him up. "We must get you to the Queen," she said. Now, Queen Calvera stared at the broken mask of one of the assassins. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with fury. "Are you sure it was the War Council?" she asked Tyvra. "Yes, Your Majesty," Tyvra said. One of the attackers was wearing Lord Drexen's crest under his armor. Jay sat nearby, his arm bandaged, watching her closely. "You knew this would happen," he said quietly. She nodded. "They were waiting, watching. They fear change, and they fear you." Jace stood slowly. "So what now?" Calvera walked to the center of the room. "Now, I end this." The next morning, the Queen stood before the full War Council. Her face was calm. Her robe was black, the color of judgment. The counselor sat proudly, not knowing what was. "Coming, you sent assassins to kill my guest," she said coldly. Drexen smirked. "He is a threat to our empire." "No," she replied. "You are." She pressed a button on her bracelet. A hollow recording played footage from the palace corridor. The faces of the assassins. The hidden crest. The voice of Drexen ordering. The attack. Gasps filled the chamber. Calvera stepped forward. "I no longer need cowards on my council." She raised her hand. Guards rushed in. Drexen and 3 others were dragged away. The rest sat frozen, too afraid to speak. "I am the queen," Kelvera said, "and I will not be ruled by fear." That evening, she stood on the balcony again. Jace joined her, arms still sore, but healing fast. "They won't stop," he said, even with Drexen gone. "I know," she replied, "but I've made my choice." He looked at her. "And what choice is that?" "I will not be their puppet anymore. I want something better for my people." Jace nodded slowly. "Then you're going to need help." She turned to him. "Will you stay?" "For now," he said, "until it's done." They stood side by side, watching the stars below them. Across the city, murals of Jace were already being painted. Children practiced human battle stances in the streets, and in hidden places, rebel leaders began speaking again for the first time in years. Days passed. The Queen and Jace began working together. They met with alien scholars, rebel leaders, and free thinkers from many worlds. Gave speeches, taught strategy, shared Earth's forgotten history. He told them, "You don't need to be human to be brave. You just need to believe in something." Hope began to rise. But so did the danger. One night, while reviewing border reports, Jace turned to the Queen. "There's movement," he said. "The pirate clans are gathering, not small raids, big fleets. Someone's uniting them." She frowned. "We stopped that rebellion cycle ago." Jace zoomed in on the map. "This isn't rebellion. This is something else." He paused. "And I think I know who's behind it." That night, Jace sat alone in his quarters, staring at an old photo op picture of his former squad, humans in black armor, standing proudly on a metal platform. All of them were gone now. All except him. A soft knock broke the silence. Queen Kelvera entered. She didn't speak at first, just stood there. "You lost people," she said softly. "All of them," Jace replied. "They died so I could finish the mission." "Closer? And what is your mission now?" He looked at her, serious and tired. "To stop this galaxy from making the same mistake again." She nodded. "Then let's do it together." The next day, the Queen made a historic announcement. Front of cameras, soldiers, nobles, and citizens, she declared, "I no longer rule with the Council's shadow behind me. From this day, we open our arms to truth, to unity, and to those who carry on or no matter their species." She turned to Jace, who stood beside her. "This human once came to us as a prisoner. Now, he stands with us as an ally." The crowd cheered. Across the stars, the speech spread like wildfire, and deep in the black reaches of space, a figure in dark armor watched the broadcast. He turned off the screen and spoke into a cum. "The human lives, prepare the fleets. We end this our way." The galaxy was changing. After Queen Kelvera's speech, many alien races began to rise. Her words gave them courage. And the presence of Commander Jace Thorn, the human legend, gave them strength. People who had once lived in fear now began to hope, and for the first time in centuries, the stars no longer felt cold. Inside the Vyrexi royal war room, Queen Kelvera and Jace stood over a large holomap. Dots of light showed star systems, war zones, and pirate activity. One side of the map was glowing red. "They're moving fast," Jace said. "Faster than your scouts can track." Kelvera nodded. "Pirates, but not disorganized. Someone is leading them." Jace zoomed in. "The symbol," he pointed. "It's not pirate, it's Terran, a rogue group, ex-military, call themselves the Iron Fangs." "You know them?" the Queen asked. Jace looked grim. "I trained with them a long time ago." Her eyes narrowed. "You trained the enemy?" "I trained soldiers. Some didn't like peace. They broke away after the purge. Now they want to finish what the galaxy started, burn everything." Kelvera was silent. Jace spoke again. "We need more than just your fleet. We need others. Free colonies, refugees, old allies." "You want to build an army?" "No," he said. "I want to build an alliance." The next few weeks were busy. Kelvera and Jace sent messages across the galaxy, 2 planets. Once ignored, 2 rebels once hunted, 2 species once enslaved. Some didn't believe them, but most did. They had seen the broadcasts. The human who survived, the queen who changed, and slowly the Starfire Alliance was born. First came the Tesserae nomads, riders of solar winds, then the Bracken builders, giant creatures who controlled deep space mining stations. After them, the Krelly engineers, who could fix anything with scraps and wires. Even the Tarnix clans, old enemies of the Veraxi, agreed to fight under the Alliance banner. The Starfire Alliance flag was simple, a white star inside a ring of flame. Under that flag, fleets formed, soldiers trained. Worlds prepared, but not all were happy. In the dark regions of space, the old powers watched with anger. The Council of Immortals, the secret rulers behind the Galactic Purge, wakened from their long sleep. One of them, called Sithros, stared at a screen showing Jace Thorn. "The human has returned," he hissed. "The queen has betrayed us." Another whispered, "Shall we send the void machines?" "No," Sithros said coldly. "We send him." Meanwhile, on a moon base under repair, Jace trained a group of new recruits. Aliens of all kinds stood in line, big and small, young and old. "You don't need to be strong to fight," Jace told them. "You need heart. You need reason." One of the Bracken raised a hand. "But why follow a human?" Jace looked him in the eye. "Don't follow me. Follow the idea. Freedom. Truth. If I fall, keep fighting." The crowd stood taller after that. Even those who had once feared humans now followed one with pride. Back on Veraxi Prime, Kelvera visited the lower cities for the first time in years. Children ran up to her, holding small drawings of her. "And Jace, you're the queen who fights for us," one little alien girl said. Kelvera knelt and smiled. "No, I just listen better now." She gave the girl a necklace, one with the Starfire symbol. In that moment, the queen saw something she hadn't seen in years. Love. But peace didn't last. A message came through static. Broken, urgent. A rebel outpost near the edge of the galaxy was under attack. By something. Unnatural. Jace and Kelvera rushed to the command center. The screen showed a destroyed colony, floating in space. There were no pirate ships, only black silent machines with glowing red cores. Jace's eyes narrowed. Void machines. "You know them?" the queen asked. "They were built by humans, banned by humans, AI war units, lost in the purge. But who controls them now?" Jace shook his head. "Someone very dangerous." That night, Jace sat alone in the observation dome. Stars blinked outside like quiet sparks. Kelvera entered without speaking. She sat beside him. "They're coming," Jace said softly. "And they won't stop." She looked at him. "Wait. We won't stop either." He turned to her. "You've changed." "So have you." They were quiet for a long time. Then the queen said, "I used to rule with fear. You made me see another way." Jace gave a small smile. "You had it in you already." She looked down. "Will you stay after this war?" He didn't answer right away. "I don't know," he finally said. "If there's still something left to protect, maybe." The next day, the Alliance held its first full battle council. Alien leaders sat together around a large table. All different, all equal. Jace stood at the front. "We have one chance," he said. "Strike before the enemy grows stronger. Target the command nodes. Cut the head." Kelvera added, "This is not just for our future. This is for those who were silenced before us." The room echoed with agreement. They launched the mission, Operation Dawnfire, on the battlefield. Jace led the first wave, Phyrexi cruisers. Brackenhammer ships, Krelly drones all fought as one. Jace's personal fighters sliced through enemy lines. He gave commands, rescued escape pods, disabled weapons. He didn't fight for glory. He fought for peace. In the middle of battle, an enemy ship locked onto the Queen's cruiser. Jace saw it too late. No. A red beam struck the side of her ship. "Fire spread, Kale." Her voice crackled through. "Come still alive. Just fire control offline." Jace didn't think. He turned his ship and flew directly between the Queen's cruiser and the attacking warship. He took the hit. His fighter exploded into flames. Silence fell in the command room. Jace Thorn is down. Queen Calvera stood slowly, her hand shaking. "No," she whispered. "He can't be gone." A voice came over. "Comes broken, weak, but alive. I'm still here." The room exploded in cheers. Later, Calvera stood at the Alliance Hospital beside Jace's bed. He was bandaged, weak, but smiling. "You're lucky," she said. "I'm human," he replied. "We're stubborn." She held his hand gently. "You saved me." He looked at her. "You saved a galaxy." Across the stars, news of the victory spread, and a new name was whispered. The Starfire Alliance led by an alien queen. And a human legend. Enemies began to tremble. Old empires began to fall. And hope began to rise. The stars above the galaxy shone brightly, but peace still had not come. The void machines were still out there. And behind them, someone more powerful waited in the shadows. Jace Thorne stood at the edge of a strategy table with Queen Calvera and the Alliance generals. His left arm was still in a support brace from the last battle, but his mind was sharp, focused. Calvera pointed to a massive glowing red dot on the map. "This is it. The source of the signal. It's the true command center behind the void machines." Jace narrowed his eyes. "The throne core." "Yes," she confirmed. "A hidden planet covered in armor, floating deep in black space. It was once the seat of the immortals. And now it's where they're hiding," Jace said. "Waiting." The room fell quiet. Everyone knew what was coming next. The final battle before they launched. Jace walked through the Alliance hangar. Ships of every kind stood ready. Pilots checked their weapons. Engineers ran final repairs. Aliens of every species moved with purpose. He saw a small, Krelly child handing out badges to soldiers, each one shaped like a burning star. "For luck," the child said. Jace smiled and took one. He pinned it to his chest armor. Calvera joined. Him, wearing a black command suit with a silver starfire mark. "Are you ready?" she asked. "I was born for this," Jace replied. The fleets launched together: Veraxy dreadnoughts, Bracken siege ships, Tarnix scouts, Krelly bombers, the Starfire Armada. In the command ship, Jace stood beside Calvera. Her voice rang out across the radio waves to every captain, every soldier, every fighter in the Alliance. This is not just war. This is history. The galaxy has been ruled by fear for too long. Today, we light the stars with freedom. For our worlds, for our children, for tomorrow. Cheers filled the airwaves. The throne core appeared ahead, a giant black sphere, larger than any planet. It had no light, no life, only silence, until the sky turned red. Void machines appeared by the thousands. Sharp, fast, soulless. Their eyes glowed like fire, and behind them, a monstrous ship emerged, dark, ancient, covered in alien symbols. At its heart was Sithros, the last and strongest. Of the immortals, the battle began. Explosions lit the void. Laser beams crisscrossed the stars. Ships collided. Fighters danced like fireflies. Jace led the second fleet toward the enemy core. "Focus fire on the shield generators," he shouted. Kales Vora, commanding the main flagship, targeted the control towers. No mercy for the Alliance. The enemy was fierce, cold, relentless. Jace's ship was hit again and again, but he didn't stop. "I'm going in," he told Calvera. "Get me close to that monster." "Are you insane?" she snapped. "You're not healed, and don't need to be. Just get me inside." Using a stealth pod, Jace launched toward the enemy supership. He flew through debris and laser fire, landed hard inside a docking bay, and broke through the inner walls. Inside was quiet. Too quiet. Until Sithros appeared. Tall, metallic, wearing dark robes. His face was smooth and lifeless. "Ice. You should not exist, human." I get that a lot, Jace replied. You are the last spark of chaos. We built this galaxy to be silent. You brought noise, and you brought lies. Sithros raised his hand. Energy formed into a glowing blade. So be it. The fight was brutal. Sithros moved like a ghost, his blade fast and sharp. Jace dodged, blocked, punched. He took hit after hit. His ribs cracked. His visor shattered. But he didn't stop, because humans don't stop. I am not just human, Jace growled, blocking another strike. I am every voice you tried to silence. Every life you thought worthless. Every world you burned. One last push, he grabbed Sithros' blade arm, twisted, and drove his own combat knife deep into the immortal's chest. The Machine King screamed, sparks flying from his eyes. Jace stepped back, breathing hard. You're finished. Sithros fell to the ground, flickering, fading, chaos. We'll return, he whispered. Good, Jace said. It means we're alive. Outside, Kelvira watched the enemy ships freeze, then collapse. The Void machines lost control. Without their master, they shut down. The throne core cracked open and then exploded. 2 days later, Jace woke up in a medical bay, bandaged, bruised, alive. Kelvira sat beside him, her hand resting gently on his. You did it, she said, smiling. Softly, no, he replied. We did it. She nodded. The galaxy is free. He looked around. So, what happens now? In the weeks that followed, things changed fast. The Starfire Alliance became more than just an army. It became a new way of life. The broken empires were rebuilt with justice. The alien races once kept apart now worked together, and Earth's story was no longer forgotten. It was honored at the heart of a new capital built where the throne core once floated. A monument was raised. A tall statue of Jace Thorn, one hand holding the Alliance flag, the other reaching out to a small alien child. At its base were words, written in many languages. Hope never dies. It waits for someone brave enough to light the fire. One final meeting took place in the Queen's garden. Kelvira and Jace stood side by side. I'll be leaving soon, Jace said. Where? She asked, trying to hide her sadness. Back to the stars. Other Terran groups are still out there, lost, hiding. They need to know. It's safe now. She took a deep breath. You'll come back? Jace smiled. If the stars don't eat? Kelvira stepped forward and hugged him tightly. You were the spark. And you were the flame, he said, as Jace's ship launched into the skies once more. Millions watched from below. Aliens, humans, and everything between. He was not just a legend anymore. He was a symbol of what was possible when even the forgotten stand tall. The galaxy would remember his name forever. Commander Jace Thorn, the last human legend. The first Starfire light.